Okay, guys, here we are on game number 2. And up here in the top, or sorry, the winners match even. Game number 1 of the winners match. Up here in the top left-hand corner, purple Protoss player, EnderSword. And down here, on the bottom right, is our red Terran Taranis. Gonna be sending out that scout, seeing what's going on in Ender's base. Ever the suspicious man, and we'll see. Well, we see what he sees. Pretty normal kind of stuff coming out, and Taranis looks like he's going for actually a fast factory, I think. Very fast gas in here, so he's going to be able to put down that factory as soon as the barracks finishes. Could even potentially afford a Reaper with it, but we'll see what he actually goes for. There's the factory actually proxied here, and he's going to be able to fly it over into EnderSword's base and start pumping out some Widow Mines. And this is pretty handy for him as well, because having scouted what's actually inside EnderSword's base, he knows where the blind spot is. He knows this little kind of a fog of war section, unless EnderSword takes the other assimilator, is going to be, it's just going to be completely blank. So this is pretty good for him here. EnderSword's likely not going to get detection that fast, although he has taken that second assimilator, so there's a solid chance the factory will be seen, which takes away from some of the surprise of it, but it still can be pretty strong. Either way, we'll see what Taranis decides to do. He could also just, no, he's going to lift it up and float it in. Oh, actually, perfect positioning, just right on the edge. We'll see. I don't think EnderSword can see that. It depends where he sends any of his units. The Mothership Core might just about spot it. Not quite. Not quite. So Taranis now, the Widow Mine's coming out. EnderSword just with one Stalker and the Mothership Core. It's not too likely he'll be able to focus them down before they actually finish. Or they actually burrow, rather. His does have a robotics facility on the way, though, so he is going to have to access to detection. He now sees it. EnderSword sees the factory. He's going to close with it and start picking away at it. But he knows what's on the way. He knows there's Widow Mines coming out. He's going to try and block off his Widow Mine. His mineral line a little bit better. But Taranis burrows up and does just about manage to get that Widow Mine. Not in position, but borrowed. And that's the important thing. You can take out a Stalk with one hit, and then it's been cost effective. That Taranis is actually moving out with some pressure at the same time. I like this idea because it's going to bring EnderSword away from the factory. If he can set it on fire, maybe he can leave it. But he's trying to chron out the Stalkers, chron out what he can. The Nexus at the natural has finished up, but hit on the Mothership Core. One more hit, and there will be no photon overcharge. Taranis is backing out with his factory. Maybe he can make some more Widow Mines. This is interesting. EnderSword's Relics Gateway out, but it looks, no, he's going to take out this Widow Mine before anything completes from the gateway, so that's not too bad. Unless Taranis, nah, not quite. I was wondering if Taranis was going to be able to scan and take out that. He tried. He wants to get the Observer, but to no avail. But now EnderSword, yeah, the Photon Overcharge can come down. That fun is forfeit. Nice little bit of focus fire, I think, actually. Gets one shot on the Marine, but it's all good. Now, Taranis continuing with his push forwards. He's going to get in some Widow Mines and trying to push up the ramp again. Or just drop in. Both good ideas. And back at home for Taranis. The starport's up. More medevac. Well, obviously, he's got medevac. His command center's coming out as well. And a couple extra barracks. But now, Taranis loaded up, dropping in. Again, directly in that bit of vision that isn't there. Good Widow Mine burrow. Does actually go off on the Zealot. And Taranis wisely pulls his Marines back so he doesn't actually take all the damage from that. Focus firing down these probes. And they're going to go down. But now he can't actually take out the Stalkers. And yeah, the Widow Mine goes down as well with the detection. But overall, decent little drop. Takes out quite a few probes. Just keeping EnderSword suppressed. Although Taranis, with his much less economic opener, does have to be, or he does have to do more damage than this to actually retain or obtain the lead. We'll see. We'll see. He's going to be able to keep this pressure going for quite a while. And he actually did take out the Mothership Core, I think, with that drop. Or is it just going across the map for some reason? No, he did take it out. So there'll be no photon overcharge if Taranis does elect to push in towards the natural. However, EnderSword's army is kind of strong enough now with 2 Immortals that like Taranis can't actually win any fights, or shouldn't be able to actually win any fights. Especially not with stim, without stim, without combat shields. We'll see. He's going to be able to move in here towards the mineral line. The Widowmine burrows up at the base of the natural ramp. Doesn't get any shots off though, and Taranis just had to back on out, having just done a bit of shield damage to the Nexus. Not exactly what he wants, but I mean, it's something. Oh dear, a little too slow there, and his medevac's are going to have to boost on out of there as soon as it comes back off cooldown. But for now, Taranis is starting to catch up again. He's still got a little bit of a worker deficit, but his upgrades on the way, flying that factory back in. I guess he's hoping that EnderSword's army is out on the map, but it is, of course, not. First Colossus started out for EnderSword as well, and looks like Taranis is going to have to make some Vikings. But for now, he's just got his extra barracks on the way, engineering bay, researching that +1 upgrade, and everything's going good. He's going to cancel third base, which is pretty nice. Actually, no cancel even, so that's a pretty nice little win for Taranis. I guess he's just distracting EnderSword with his factory as well. EnderSword, fairly slow player as well, quite a low APM player, so Taranis' really kind of hectic multitasking style should match up pretty well with kind of tearing EnderSword apart, but we'll see. The Twilight Cancel is coming out now for EnderSword as well, trying to get Blinks Dorcas to protect his Colossi a bit more. Folk No Trust goes down for 2 probes for like 1 Marine. Oh my god, no, if he loses this medevac though. Oh, that changes everything. Medevac crumbling down to land in the crevasse. And actually the second one goes down as well. That is really not good for Taranis. Losing both medevacs, every single Marine. Takes quite a hit to his army supply. But now he's moving on out to his third base. And trying to get a handle on exactly what's going on with Taranis' army. He needs to have some answer to those Colossi before they reach a critical mass and start actually just swiping away his bio. The second forge actually coming in for EnderSword as well. Looks like we're going to be seeing some double upgrades, which is going to be pretty good with Colossi. Obviously, Colossi scale great with the attack upgrades, and defense upgrades are just great on or against Terran with their high fire rates. We'll see. The armory on the way as well for Taranis, so he can start his +2. And concussive shell as well. He's got most of his basic kind of bio upgrades already on. However, EnderSword does have a couple of Colossi out, and it's just kind of moving a bit of his army back to try and drive away this annoying factory that's done so much work over the course of the game. A few Photon Cannons as well should be able to help deny any drops. Taranis does, of course, like his drops, as do all Terrans, really. And yeah, he's going to move towards this third base, though. But EnderSword not being in position is likely to lose this third again. And this is really a bit of a shame for him. Yeah, the Marauders just doing too much damage. This time he does get the cancel, but still, the base goes down, and he really needs it pretty soon. Vikings on the way for Taranis now. A second starport as well, and +1 air weapons, or vehicle and air weapons to help those Vikings out in their battle against the Colossi. Yeah, a little bit of upgrade advantages though so far for EnderSword. They're on about equal terms, but with the double upgrades, EnderSword's just a tiny bit faster. And with Chrono, he's going to be able to build on that. Oh, perfect timing. And yeah, they're going to speed on towards completion, and then I imagine 3-3 or 3-2, I guess, will swiftly follow. Either way, that factory still just being annoying, scouting out what's going on. Does manage to catch sight of those extra gateways being added on, and of course the Chrono upgrades. But scans coming out, just checking for observers. He knows, or Taranis now knows EnderSword doesn't know he's here, but EnderSword doesn't know Taranis knows this. In fact, EnderSword doesn't know anything. His vision on the map is very low. In fact, non-existent even. Gonna try and take this third base again, but obviously it's not going to be successful. The bio is right there. Taranis is doing such a good job of just keeping EnderSword suppressed, keeping him on those 2 bases. And there's 3 Colossi out now for EnderSword. Taranis It's going to be tough. He could fight this army, but why would he? He's on 3 bases. His opponent's only on 2. He can just, chillax back and wait till he's maxed out and then start taking the fights. Because right now, the army supply are slightly in favor of EnderSword. So why would Taranis fight? And he's got the econ advantage. He can just wait and build it up. But scanning, he sees no army in the natural. He's going to try and move up here, but this actually could be a little bit of a trap. EnderSword is ready and waiting on the side. Taranis sees this, but he actually just sims towards into the natural. A little bit of the army to delay the Colossi. And Taranis is actually going to go for the Nexus, go for the snipe on this natural base. Then he can pick up and leave, but not with all of his army. So he's going to lose quite a bit of it here. But he's getting as much damage as he can with this army before he has to go. And this is keeping EnderSword on such low economy that it could have been worth it. However, Taranis now has to be very worried about a counter-attack. If EnderSword just moves out now, Taranis' army is tiny compared to EnderSword's. EnderSword actually his army supply didn't drop during that engagement. It's just the same as it was afterwards. Taranis about halved his and is now trying to get the remax up. But EnderSword, on his way across the map, is on the warpath. He does have those 3 Colossi with range. Storms coming in as well. They've got the slight upgrade advantage. Well, they're on equal upgrades at the minute, actually. But +2 finishing up soon, +3 armor on the way as well. Taranis, the Viking count, not very high. He's spreading his units as best he can, but with the 4th Colossus, 4 big heads, very, very strong. Coming in now, EnderSword's going to push forward to Taranis. He knows he can't fight this. He has to back away. The Stalkers do have blink, and they will aggressively blink forwards. Now he's going to be taking out all these SCVs, just swiping them away. Ain't no thing, no trouble, not a single Protoss unit lost. And all these Vikings as well, the Viking count being reset is really, really bad because Taranis, the big problem is these Colossi. Gateway just melts to bio, but these Colossi, there's just absolutely no answer to them. And the SCVs are coming up for light. Taranis went a bit too deep with that attack, and now he's paying the price. Force fields, keeping that bio away. 1 Colossus is kind of just swiping away, and it's like another one in the main engagement goes down. 2nd Colossus falls, and Taranis is just about holding here, but these Immortals doing so much work on the remaining Marauders. However, the final Colossus goes down. Looks like Taranis is just going to hold this by the skin of his teeth. However, he did pay the price in SCVs, the blood price of SCVs, and these Zealots come in as well. With no charge, the Marauders should be able to fight back against them, but there's just so few units here for Taranis. He's going to have to land these Vikings, and land Vikings don't really fight well against anything, let alone Zealots. Taranis just kiting back as best he can. Across the map, EnderSword is he's getting his bases back up. He's finished his natural next again. His 3rd base is thriving. High Templar are finished. There's Colossi being back in production. 3-2 upgrades for EnderSword, and everything is looking shiny for him. Whereas Taranis, his economy is in shambles. He's got 17 SCVs left, 17 army supply, and EnderSword is just pulling so far ahead with over triple the worker count of Taranis. EnderSword is actually just going to be getting towards the max out. He's getting shield upgrades. When you're getting shield upgrades against Terran, you know you're in a good position. But just EnderSword can sit back, relax a bit more, finally kill this factory, build the perfect army. Taranis has just scanned and killed off the last 2 observers. But you know what? It doesn't even matter. This factory's burning down. The 4th base is on the way for EnderSword, as Taranis sees with his factory. And Taranis is going to have to be pulling... Oh, they just left, actually. The observers are making their way back across the map. The pilgrimage. But, yeah, Taranis, big trouble. The Ghost, he's going to... The one advantage he does have is EnderSword's not a very fast player. He's not, too micro-intensive. His macro is very strong, but if Taranis can do well with his Ghost micro and... just kind of negate the High Templar, that'll be a big investment that EnderSword will be making into 150 gas for every High Templar, and then the Templar Archives and Storm and everything, not to mention the walkway cooldowns, I guess. And if his Ghost control is good enough to just completely negate that, then that will be, I think, Taranis' potential route back into it. But for now, EnderSword's moving out just towards his 3rd base. Could keep on going, and yeah, it looks like he's going to keep on going, start trying to put some pressure on Taranis. Only 1 Colossus, but tons of High Templar. 6 High Templar here, all with Storms. And yeah, this is almost all with Storms. Taranis only with 2 Ghosts. he's going to have to land the sickest EMP. And if EnderSword just splits up his High Templar, comes in from multiple angles, that is not going to be possible. But we'll see. For now, Taranis doesn't actually know this is on the way just yet. I think EnderSword's just waiting for +3 weapons before he actually engages. Maybe he could get another Colossus. I'd quite like to see one. Yeah, another one on the way. If he just gets his second Colossus, gets +3 weapons, and goes, he will be like pummeling through. But actually, it looks like they're both kind of taking weird routes across the map. Scan goes down. Taranis has the target in his sights. He wants that third base. EnderSword just trying to open up an extra attack path so he can go into this natural base a little bit more undetected. And Taranis, he doesn't see this. He sees this pylon. I think that makes him a little nervous, but he's going to press onwards anyway. Just sending the Marauders in front to get onto that Nexus. However, here comes EnderSword, taking out Taranis' reinforcements, moving on in towards this third base. He's going to take the high ground now. Taranis has to press forward and hope he can hold it home. But there's so much in this army for EnderSword. This old command dies almost immediately. The Zealot's doing so much damage. Taranis looks like he's going for the base trade. And we'll see how successful it is. EnderSword, he has nothing at home. He needs to warp in High Templars so he can actually start to defend, start to storm this army. A few Zealots being warped in aren't going to do too much. Looks like EnderSword is actually just going to take out the third base for Taranis and head on back home. There is another third CC, or orbital command, for Taranis floating out. But for now, Taranis' army is just making its way up in towards the natural. Can take down the natural Nexus. A nice EMP takes down most of the shields of those Zealots. And then the bio cleans them up. But now EnderSword is here. The full army has arrived, and it's just going to annihilate what Taranis has. There are a few Vikings, and they're going to take out the Colossus, but that is it. Taranis, once again, an enormous army supply deficit, is going to be trying to hang on for dear life. Hold off. His 3-3 will finish up soon, but that only puts him on even upgrades. And to be honest, EnderSword even has the shield upgrade, and with no ghosts, that's actually going to be reducing damage, actually applying. So EnderSword, with a great sort of late game army, just the one Colossus, but so many High Templar, a couple Archons, the Zealots, the High Templar, and it's just so much. One Storm will cover basically all of Taranis' army, and EnderSword has more than that. Charging forwards, these Zealots can take it out themselves. EnderSword's just dancing back and forwards, waiting for the right time to engage. It's now. One Storm, GG. And EnderSword takes game 1 on Coda. We go on to game 2, which will be on Echo, of course. Okay, guys, we are back here on Echo. And our first player, he is 1 game away from advancing into the round of 16 for ASL Vanguard League. It is the Purple Protoss, EnderSword. And his opponent, down 1 game even on the can swing. It is the blue Terran player looking to make a comeback, Taranis. And this game looks like he's going to be opening up with a Reaper. No weird factory-based shenanigans going on. Much more standard, much more regular. And I quite like that decision. He really didn't get much done with his proxy factory in the last game. And if he's going to pull it out again, Varney would be the place to do it. I don't think he can do it 3 times in a row. So if he's going to do it in one other map, it would be Varney. And so it's going to be sending his probe out to scout around. Which he'll likely just end up turning into the Reaper's first victim, but it doesn't matter too much. The scouting probe, you sort of expect it to lose it quite a lot of the time versus Terran, but, well, I don't know. Definitely if it gets locked in the base or anything, you have to be a bit careful with it. But either way, it's not too bad. Taranis does kind of favor letting his, building his barracks a little further back and letting his add-on complete the wall, so I guess there's more of a chance you can get it out, but that Reaper is going to chase down this first probe and pick up his kill. EnderSword, however, down the bottom left, has hidden a probe, so I'm wondering whether we're going to see a proxy Stargate coming out. This is a pretty far away location for proxy Stargate. Could also be a proxy Twilight Council. So we'll see. EnderSword's getting out his Mothership Core, getting out a Stalker to deal with this Reaper, and they'll be outside in, you know, the right sort of time. They should be able to take it out. And as Taranis, yeah, jumps up there. He's going to get a scout off, and he should have an eye on the checking the pylons, so he should know that there is something out on the map, a proxy somewhere. And it is, of course, going to be that Twilight Council. Could be Blink, could be DTs, but Taranis is actually going to check around. He is going to scout it, so at least on his current scouting pattern, he will see the Twilight Council. He'll be able to take out that probe. So it was going to be DT to EnderSword. I mean, it's not anymore. That, or they're going to be in the main base. So Taranis sees this. Yeah, he finds the probe. And yeah, EnderSword. EnderSword can't be too happy about that. Taranis obviously is pretty happy about that. He's going to be able to work away at that pylon. Blink isn't an option anymore. That pylon will be taken out before it started. EnderSword wanted to face the Expo. Expo was a little late. Kind of unfortunate there. But either way, EnderSword is just going to have to kind of expand off this. This isn't the worst thing in the world, actually, because Taranis has stopped focusing down that pylon. EnderSword can kind of convert this into a regular kind of Blink, economic Blink build. So it's fine. But actually, it looks like he's just going to kind of cut his losses, go into a Robo, and keep on up with the standard play. Actually, the Reaper picks up a third probe kill before tumbling to the ground. And yeah, that's pretty nice for him. We'll see whether he gets any more damage done. Well, no, he won't, obviously, but we'll see whether Trans can get any more damage done over the course of this game. So far, his medevacs are going to be up soonish. The reactor's just finishing or just starting up on that starport, so he'll be able to actually get the drops down, get that healing done. However, his add-ons on his barracks seem to be a little bit late, so Stim and combat shields are going to be a while from completion. It's okay though, it's fine. He's still got a pretty decent advantage from just scouting that proxy Twilight Council. And so actually going for an immortal first out of that out of the robotics facility, and that's a little interesting. Usually, I mean, immortals aren't so good versus Terran in the first place, so you usually don't see them too often. And then you want the scouting information, you want the observers to be on drop paths and stuff. Plus, you want detection for Widow Mines. So usually you see an observer first. It's kind of interesting. I guess EnderSword is a little light on units, so he just needs that immortal to provide a bit more backbone for his army. But now the observers come out, he'll be starting them up and probably send the first one out to scout around. But Taranis at the minute is moving across the map with a small force of Marines, medevac, and some Widow Mines, and it's going to be trying to put some pressure onto EnderSword. EnderSword is going to be just kind of sitting at the top of his ramp. He needs a bit more defense down at the bottom if he wants to hold this off, because at the minute Taranis can just kind of surge forward up the ramp and take that low ground location pretty easily, get a lot of damage onto the probe line. But EnderSword saw him coming. The probe did get taken out. Taranis checking for the third base. Always good to check for. I mean, it would be a bit surprising if EnderSword had one, but either way, yeah, EnderSword's now in position. He knows where the attack is coming from, and Taranis has to be careful not to get force field with him. But scan for the observers, does manage to find no observers, and two Widow Mines get burrowed up on the bottom of the ramp. They'd like to move forwards a little bit, but it's tough. They don't want to get poked right out. Now Taranis actually, he's going to manage to get a position up on the top of this ramp. The force fields weren't there. One shot, one zealot. It's not the worst, not the best, but the lift up and boost into the main base is going down, and he's going to find a landing position here. Start firing away at this warp gate. Widow Mine manages to get burrowed up, will get taken out very, very shortly after a couple of blasts. However, no, he does manage to focus fire down that observer, so no more detection, no more Widow Mine, or no more killing Widow Mines. But unfortunately, also actually no more Widow Mines. So that is a bit unfortunate there. Taranis just regrouping his forces, a few more units in production, a bit more production going down at home as well. His stim's coming down, armory as well for his upgrades, for his +2 once more. EnderSword just on the single forge this time. He's going to be a little bit behind in the upgrades, but Taranis is going to try and take this fight. EnderSword's micro not quite up there, and yeah, these Immortals just aren't doing that much against the Marines. It takes them a couple shots to kill them, a couple more with medevacs, and yeah, it's just so hard, and it doesn't manage to. He does manage to drive it off for now, but losing a couple Stalkers just for Marines is pretty cost efficient there for Taranis, and this photon cannon now up and running, gonna help defending, and yeah, we'll see what Taranis brings out next. He's just kind of trade pushing, keeping the pressure up. Dark Shrine actually on the way now for EnderSword. So that's going to be able to provide him a little bit of counter pressure, but he doesn't really have a proxy pylon. He's got the pylon out on the bottom left, out on the map. Pardon me. Which Taranis should really maybe send a Marauder over to kill or something. It doesn't matter too much. Either way, EnderSword does now have several Immortals up. So they're going to do great against these Marauders. But again, they still just take a couple hits to kill. Taranis though, moving on up. Widowmine burrowing up is not going to get a shot off. EnderSword focusing it down very nicely. And Taranis just kind of kiting back and forwards. He doesn't want to be in range of that Photon Overcharge, but he does want to be inside the main base. So lift up, boost on in. There's a lot of medevacs here. And yeah, this actually gives these Widowmines a bit of an opportunity to move forwards, but that's a bit too close to the cannon. They'll all get taken out. However, the Cybercore going down is a very nice little pick off there for Taranis. He has to be careful not to spend too much of his army though. He should lift up and boost on out before he loses too much. And there we go. Does manage to get out with some of the army. Without that Cybercore, no more sentries, no more stalkers for EnderSword. Rally point being fixed for Taranis, but yeah, EnderSword is just going to have to rely on his Immortals and his charge lots. Well, Zealots, they've got charge on the way. And Taranis is taking his third base, ramping up his production, selling his bunkers because he is just all-out aggression this game. And he should be able to do pretty well at taking out, stopping EnderSword getting a third base again. As long as he doesn't overcommit and doesn't take too much damage from the Warp Prism that's moving out, he should just, again, be in a great position like he was last game. Kiting back and taking out a lot of these Zealots without the tanking. The probes start going down. The Immortals go down so fast to the Marines. And one of them just barely survives. And Trent's going to back off down the ramp again, just kiting backs and forwards and making EnderSword take damage for approaching. But EnderSword does have a Warp Prism across the map. DT Tech is up and running. So we could see that come into play. Trent is moving forward. He wants to focus fire down these Immortals, get one sentry. Every sentry counts with no Cybercore, though it has now been rebuilt. But now that the Colossus is out, Taranis has to back off a little bit more, and he's going to regroup somewhere more mid-map. But this Warp Prism now is ready and waiting, and EnderSword's just going to back off a little bit. I think he wants to warp in a little further away. I think actually Taranis spotted that. That was impressive. I only was there for a second. He's still with the Marine, or he's moving the Marines over there, so I guess so. Yeah, it's gone now though. Too late. EnderSword has the Warp Prism in deployment mode, and 4 Dark Templar being warped in. 5 Dark Templar are going to move on. I think EnderSword really needs to split these up. Okay. Warp Prism going in. This Dark Templar is going towards the natural base, I think. No, actually, this one's just going towards the third base. EnderSword moves on through. There are missile targets. This is going to be an expensive Warp Prism to lose. Oh my god, it goes down with every single DT inside it. That's like, I think that's the most expensive Warp Prism I've ever seen. EnderSword is doing a bit of damage to this DT, but it does get cleaned up. And Taranis just crushed that. That was about like 1,000 minerals and nearly like, I don't even want to think how much gas. 600-700 or so gas gone down there. That is a big loss there for EnderSword. And yeah, Taranis, now he senses blood. He knows there was a huge commitment to that, and EnderSword can't have much behind it. So he's going to go forwards. He's going to try, probably aim for this third base again, but this is Echo is a bit of an easier map than Coda to defend your third base on. So EnderSword shouldn't be in too bad a position here. Taranis has a couple Vikings though, and this is a pretty good angle to start firing away at those Colossi. Just poking away at them, and actually there's literally no anti-air in this in this army for EnderSword, so he's got nothing to do with his Vikings just poking away at the Colossus. But Taranis is going to back off. He's actually doing pretty well at not taking too much damage from the Colossi. The Vikings getting out of Photon Overcharge range. But I think Taranis is being a little too hasty. He doesn't identify there's no anti-air, but it doesn't really matter. He's got a great armor spire advantage. The final Colossus falls. Now with a couple of Stalkers, Taranis backs off. He can regroup. He's got his reinforcements on the way. But EnderSword is warping in his own reinforcements. Another Colossus is about to finish up soon. The scan goes down, sees the army, and actually, you know what? There's very little in the natural. Taranis is going to move in towards the natural again, but he has to be a bit careful. This is sort of how he lost the last game. However, Photon Overcharge is going to expire soon. This Colossus could get caught out of position. Taranis is going to dart forwards. The blink forwards is actually going to lose both Stalkers. Again, no anti-air. These Vikings can land on up and die to Immortals, because that's what landed Vikings do. But a few of them still survive. This one Immortal with 23 kills and 1 health, still just barely surviving. And yeah, Taranis is just going to focus down this Nexus. He should be able to get it even with the attack of the Protoss army. And yeah, he's going to kill that Nexus. He's going to kill the rest of the army as well. And it looks like he is going to take game number 2. Taranis Vikings doing so much damage, killing off those Immortals. And now with barely any army left for EnderSword, he's just going to rely on this Photon Cannon and the Zealots to try and defend. But it's not going to be enough against all this fire from Taranis surging forwards. The Vikings land up again, start focusing down this Photon Cannon and killing everything here. GG says EnderSword, and Taranis ties up 1-1. Hello, all you beautiful people. We are back on Varney Research Station for the final map in the winners match. First player up here in the north spawn, the purple Protoss player, EnderSword. And we have his opponent down here in the bottom, the red Terran Titan, Taranis. Now, as good as Varney Research Station is for drops, so far Taranis has secured an advantage, or secured lead in all these games, by pressuring between the natural and third, pressuring the third base, just denying EnderSword from being able to take that. And that's going to be a lot more difficult to do on Varney Research Station. Obviously, the natural and main are both defended by one ramp. Drops are really the only way to access any kind of harass potential into the natural. The third base is set just forward of that ramp. So if Taranis wants to do the same sort of style, drops are going to be a complete necessity. He's not going to be able to kind of run between the natural and the third and just distract EnderSword to his main, or distract EnderSword to the natural and then run in towards the third. Or at least it's going to be a lot more difficult. And he's going to risk a bit more in doing so if EnderSword opens up with blink or has any kind of solid way of countering the drops. So we'll see how well Taranis can adapt to the map and how well EnderSword can predict that. But for now, Taranis is just going to be opening up with his Reaper Expand again. It's never a bad idea, even on maps that are really bad for Reapers, like Expedition Lost. But Varney Research Station is actually a pretty good Reaper map. EnderSword isn't Reaper walling at all either, so the Reaper should be able to run around that Nexus with part E10, avoiding the Mothership Claw, avoiding the Stalker, and maybe picking up a Probe Kill or two. So far, yeah, one Probe Kill down is pretty nice, for good result for the Reaper already. A second one would be fantastic, and he does get it. So Taranis has to be really happy with that. And yeah, that's gonna kind of lessen the worker lead that EnderSword secures with Chrono Boost, but it's not too bad. Coming in from the other angle now, another probe, 3 probe kills with the Reaper is fantastic news for Taranis. He's gonna get a fourth. A fourth probe kill Reaper that's more pro kills than I've seen for a very long time. Certainly without it being some kind of incredibly wonky, like bronze versus diamond match or something. But this is a really, really fantastic start for Taranis. A little bit of misplaced supply depot is actually going to let the probe in, but there isn't anything like crucial for it to scout. It's going to see the starport and the factory, and maybe EnderSword will be like, oh, it's Widowmine drops, but that's not a huge surprise anyway. He should be prepared for it, just because they can be so threatening and powerful. But EnderSword does have a fairly proxy pylon. over on the left-hand side, and the Reaper comes in again. Doesn't manage to pick up another probe kill. This time EnderSword is ready, but it does survive and get out of there. So, I mean, that's something, and obviously gets the scout off. Doesn't... Oh, yeah, confirms natural, too. Confirms natural, so... Yeah, Taranis knows exactly what's going on. He's gotten tons of damage through. He's got a Widowmine out. He actually is going to unburrow that. I'm not... he can go off on the probe. It's fine. It doesn't matter too much. There's nothing else for it to go off on in the next 45 seconds. The Reaper even actually scouts the proxy pylon for EnderSword. So it's all going Taranis' way right now. And as Taranis adds on the Forge, he's got a few more gates on the way as well, but still no actual tech choice as of yet. No Blink, no Robo. I'm expecting a Robo out of EnderSword. He's kind of seemed to prefer the Robo openings, and he will need to have some kind of access to detection. Although the Forge gives him cannons for detection, it's not ideal. They're just kind of there, I guess. But Taranis is getting toward the point. Yeah, he's getting toward the point where he's going to start putting the aggression on. Actually, taking it to EnderSword's side of the map, and this is what he's been so good at in all his games, is putting the aggression on, setting the tempo of the game, and just taking it and holding it for pretty much the entire time, dictating where the engagements are, when they happen, and whether or not they're favorable to him. EnderSword, though, is Twilight Council is on the way, almost certainly going to be Blink from this, just kind of standard kind of 3-gate Blink opener. With the Robo coming up as well, he'll have access to detection. However, right now, there is no detection, of course, so Taranis, if he gets a Widowmine burrowed in this mineral line, either EnderSword is going to have to make a sacrifice to the gods of Terran every 45 seconds, or he's just going to have to abandon the mineral line. And, oh dear, that's a decent shot, 3 hits, but Taranis can just load on up and get on out. Nice little kind of area in the back. He's going to go towards the or the main base, and this Widowmine, it's still there. It's going to go off in another few seconds, but actually, the medevac's just going to chillax back here, ready and waiting to strike again. But for now, the Widowmine did get 4 probe kills, or got 3 probe kills. It got another one back at Taranis' base, and it's going to get 1 more here. But it shouldn't get much more than that. A bit early there. Taranis is going to come back in just before Photon Overcharge expires with these Marines. Does lose the medevac, but takes out a probe. I don't really think that was worth it, even for 2 probes. Losing all the Marines, and particularly the medevac, is a bit of an annoying loss, especially when there's a solid chance the Widowmine will actually take out a few probes before the Observer gets a chance. And it goes off on the Mothership Core, actually, which is... Oh, it goes off on the Mothership Core and kills a probe. So, yeah, that's not really ideal. I mean, I was at 5-6 kills, I think, in the end on the Widowmine, and taking out a ton of Mothership Core health is not really what's EnderSword wanted to happen there. But either way, Temporal Archives come down as EnderSword moves towards the 3rd base. Taranis is going to find it a little bit difficult to pressure this, but so far EnderSword is just kind of staying in his up at the kind of top of the ramp in his main. He has to be a little bit worried about drops in towards the natural. It'd be kind of nice to see a couple of Photon Cannons go down even, but either way, this will actually give Taranis a little bit of an opportunity to run in towards this Nexus. We'll see how much damage he can get done. He might be able to force cancel, but he hasn't got like that much bio, and the Widowmines are going to get in position. Taranis, I think, a little too forward with them, but actually he's going to kill off the Observer. Oh no, he doesn't. He goes for the I thought he was going to go on the Zealots, and the splash will kill the Observer, but as it is, he gets the cancel on the 3rd base, which is good. For the loss of only 3 Widowmines, which even killed the Mothership Core, that is a really solid little pick-off by Taranis. Now he gets ready for those drops. I think EnderSword spots 1 or 2 of the... Yeah, hey, well, he knows about them now. The medevac in the main base, going to be unloading. Only a couple units in there, and it gets cleaned up pretty easily. However, Taranis has his main force in the natural base, and this Nexus is in big trouble. Is down, no more shields left. Just that, he can feedback and actually kill one of the medevacs, but still, EnderSword, he feedbacks the wrong medevac, and Taranis gets out of there with nearly everything. Only 4 Marines go down, and the Nexus is taken out. So EnderSword currently on 1 base, not where he wants to be against a 3cc Terran. Taranis is doing so well. This is the harass style that's so powerful on Binary Research Station. and we are seeing Taranis use it to full effect. For now, EnderSword's just getting his Archons up. He actually went for Templar Archives before Colossi, which is a little bit unusual, but nothing like unheard of. Just a bit more difficult to pull off with the advent of Widowmines. And yeah, it looks like Taranis is actually going to be building a reactor on his factory to get all those Widowmines, as many Widowmines as he wants, as well as dropping a few supply depots, because hey, we all do it sometimes. And yeah, the Widowmines are normally, if you're going for High Templar, you get a bunch of Zealots to tank for them, and to just keep the army away while your High Templar storm the hell out of everything and just destroy it. And Widowmines, pretty good against Zealots. They clump up a lot, and obviously the Zealots can't really deal with Widowmines without dying to them. Taranis going for a Doom Drop here, and also Widowmines are great at flanking High Templar. One Widowmine will kill as many High Templars fit in the splash radius, so that's horrendous if it ever happens. And yeah, just Widowmines are really good in High Templar. But Taranis is getting his drop ready. There is one photon cannon in the natural, but it is not enough. Taranis is going to stim up into the main base. He actually could get the Temple Archives if he cancels Storm. That'll be a huge win for him. He's actually focus firing down the pylons. He's actually going to delay Storm for a little bit. No, it cancelled. It finishes. Okay. Whew, that was set close there for Taranis. But now that Taranis sees the army, he knows there's nothing in the natural. A big Storm does land on all that bio, and it's all cleaned up. But Taranis is already in the natural base with all his bio. I don't think there's another Storm with EnderSword's army. And he can take that natural nexus out once again, and he can just boost down there. He can actually fight this army pretty well now. Kiting back, actually focusing down the assimilator is not really what he wants to do, but it doesn't matter. His army's advantage is pretty strong right now. No Storm, no Splash for this bio. It's just going to tear through everything EnderSword has. Looks like it's going to be taking out that Observer and taking out the rest of the army. The power units are all that's left, and without any kind of tanking, any kind of support, the probes fall in their droves to Taranis' bio, and Taranis pushes forward once again. Only 24 workers. Another small force of bio comes up in through the main ramp and takes out some wolf gates. An Immortal falls. The second Immortal is doing all it can, but not so hot against these Marines. And now last army unit of EnderSword falls. GG. Taranis is your first place advancee from ASL Vanguard Group D, and will be joining me on the casting desk.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to support the ASL by hitting the button now.